Folks, welcome back. Make a few adjustments real quick here. Okay, here's today's date. It's November 8th, 2023. And as you can see, we've had another big blast, big CME come off this side of the sun here. Okay, last night I was talking about this region that's flared up right here. Expect to see something come from this region. And usually, when something this size moves through there, it takes all this away. But there's still some left here. That tells me there's still a bigger object back behind this one right here, to see the slow motion event still continuing. And it's this, all this doesn't disappear. Okay, so we had another passage of an object. It was doing the slow motion crackling and popping yesterday. Then out comes our object, or go, you know, by goes our object, not out of the sun. It's going by the sun. So this object travels by the sun, induces a CME. The CME goes over the object, and we'll go through this one frame by frame here in a minute. And just let a few more people get in here real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and find the beginning of this loop. Oh, that was it right there. All right, let's back up. All right, not much going on in these first few frames here. We're already at 125, okay, because anything before that's not much. Okay, there was opening frame right there, 024. Not much going on, just this slow motion crackling and popping. Small little object hopping up through the top there. Yeah, let's put it on that one right there and zoom on in. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you guys are hanging in there. Let's tint this out just a tad bit there. I think we need to zoom in just a tad bit more here. Alright. Here you can see the backside of our round object. It's right here. This is the backside of it. You can see the instrument reacting to it. It's induced this CME. Here's the magnetic field around it. It's pulled out all this plasma with it. Okay, so there's a shot of the little object right there. Then let's even over on this red side here, you can see our dark patch right here, okay? And there's a little glow of plasma on the backside of it. You know what? I shouldn't have zoomed out. I should have left it there and just come on over, all right? So you can see this bright little spark right here. It's on the underside of our round object right there. So both camera angles caught it very well, pretty well. All right, now what I want to do is come over here and progress forward. Okay, here you can still see our object right here. Then something I want to show you, if we can find a good frame here. Hello, Hopkinson. Glad you made it. Right here gives an example of both in one image that I wanted to describe. Okay, in this image you can see the ghost image of our object that I just showed you on the red side, and on this image just a few frames before. This is the ghost image after. Can you see this round black object back behind it? Can you see how this plasma is coming out just a tad bit, turning, and then going up and over this? Okay, this plasma is reaching down and curving around and going around this object. The flow of these patterns paint this round black object back here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And these objects are hard to see because they're so black. They absorb and bend light. And this is its little moon that we saw in the just a frame before or whatever. Now what I want to try to do here is go another frame while we're zoomed in. Now here's a better example of our plasma coming out, turning, and going up and over this round object. This is the flow asymmetries and patterns that I look for that describe a bigger object in the background besides this little moon. There is something else back there that is stretching this plasma stream, taking it, turning it direction, and causing it to arc over this object in the background. I think you guys can see that right there. That image right there paints it pretty well. You can even see kind of plasma flowing off the top, streaking over the top of this and flying away over the top of it. Let me go one more frame here. All right, here again, this is perfect. You see this plasma reaching out, turning, and then going up. There is a gravitational force right here, or an object, that is causing this plasma to change direction and arc and go over it. You can even see the instrumentation is reacting to this plasma streaking over the top of the object. Let me go back a frame still, even though we did this one. You can see that the instrumentation is responding to this flow that's going over the top of the object, like wind going over the top of your car, over the roof of your car, right? Oh, boy. So, back to, there's the next frame. Let me go one more. All right, now you can really see how this plasma has come out, turned, and reached and going over. Even back here, you can see it. Even reaching down underneath it. Okay, and it starts to go out of view here. Each frame. Sorry, it's either zoom in and out or scroll up and down, so. All right, this flow is coming out, going up and around, coming out, going around this bigger object in the background there. All right, one last one where it kind of starts to spread out. All right, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start this, put it into motion, and we'll stay zoomed in on it right there and let you guys watch that as it comes out. And watch the flow patterns as it goes by. Here, we can even slow this down just a tad bit, because this is one we should watch slowly. There it goes. All right. So we're going to leave that sit there for a second while I get something to drink. Let you guys look at that for a second. All right, here it goes. So now we see the object, we see the flow going around it, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up, because sometimes these things are seen a little bit better when sped up. Then you can see the passage of this object when it passes the sun. Boom. Came up from behind the sun, caused all this slow motion CME, caused this spiking effect to reach towards it like a compass, and then as it closes in, it hits a magnetic barrier or whatever and induces a huge CME. All right, so let's slow this down again. I think slower is really kind of doing it justice. You just don't get to see as many passes. Yeah, that, if you can't see it, we'll just kind of leave it there for a minute for your for the people with trained eyes. I'm sure you can see it. I described it pretty well there for you guys to see. All right, so we're having multiple days now where we've had big objects, multiple events. This is several days in a row now that we've had activity off the sun. Okay. And now we have quite the big object that looks to pass maybe in front of our planet, in front of our orbit. So, and by the trajectory from this angle, it looks like it might affect more the northern hemisphere than the southern hemisphere this time. Okay, now I'm going to zoom back out of it, kind of give you guys a little bit better perspective. Sometimes you have to step back to see it. You can't zoom in, it's too big in your face. You have to step like out of your body, take 10 steps back and get a perspective from further back. And we can go zoom out even more. Right there. Alright, now we can go faster. Alright, now watch. Whoops. Alright. Ooh, that was too fast right there. Alright, so hopefully now you guys can see this big object approaching the sun. This stuff streaking out to it. That was that slow motion event that was, latching onto it. There's still a slow motion event going on, and there's still part of this left when this event goes. See that? So there's still something else coming in this region. Note these spikes over here. We might see something in this region next as well. Okay? These yellow spires, these seem to reach out, like I said, like a compass needle, because these are magnetic, have a magnetic field, these objects do, causing the sun to, latch onto them and point at them as they come inbound. Not every single time, but most of the time, as a rule, that's how you can kind of tell. Okay, so boom, wow. Well, maybe we'll come back to that later. Let's move on now and zoom in on this instrument here and go to town. Thanks for putting up with all my antics here. Just not the most technically savvy guy here. All right, so as you can see, here's today's activity. We saw the pops and everything. All right, after this last one, it seems to kind of died off. The sun's weak after all this activity. It's diving below the seafloor there. Okay, so at the current moment, there's nothing really to look at on the opening of tomorrow's report. Here's some absorption going on right here. We got C flare potential 80%, 10% for M flares, and 1 for X flares. We do have one sunspot that's beta gamma, this 3483 that we'll watch. Still that picture from yesterday of the auroras. Nice picture. And then let's come on over here. You can just, instead of opening this one, you can just tell that the auroras are pretty chill right now. It's about the same on the bottom, so I'm not going to open that one up tonight because we got a lot of stuff to cover. But we will go to this tracker because check out the tracker. Alright, let's get a little. Here we go. The sun looking down on the top of the solar system. Here's the Earth over here. Solar CME is going away from the Earth, off to the side right here. Our object comes in this way, right? And as soon as it, boom, the sun reacts as it passes by right there, all right? It's going to pass like right in front of us in this zone right here. Even though the CME is still heading away, the inbound object that absorbed a bunch of energy will still bring energy to us, okay? So that's what's tricking all these people. They see the CME going away, and then we still absorb a hit, and they're like, oh, where'd that one come from? Well, it's because they don't understand. Even though the CME is still going away, the inbound object is still bringing stuff with it, okay? Energy with it. Form of radiation, all kinds of X-rays, gamma rays, exotic particles, stuff that's penetrating our atmosphere, penetrating your skulls and making everybody zombies. Alright, well, one last thing. I wanted to check the KP in. Okay, not much going on since our last little event, just about to right here, so pretty chill. We're in good shape at the moment here. Now, something else I want to talk about is this next instrument here, the spaceweather.com. We're going to start incorporating this report into our reports more and more now because we're starting to experience some more of this different kinds of activity that these guys cover as well. All right. So, what was it on here? Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you this report right here. All right, let me read this. This is not a flying saucer. For a few milliseconds last Sunday night on November 5th, an enormous ring of red light appeared over the Caribbean. Frankie Luciana photographed it from Cabo Rojo, Puerto Rico. This is an ELVE, E-L-V-E, short for emissions of light and very low frequency. Very low frequency. Where have we heard very low frequency before? Oh yeah, the Schumann. So here's your red ring. It's hard to see, but there's a little black center right there, and this is all a red hue around a dark circle in the middle here. Is picking it up very well? Oh well. Okay, so yesterday we had a Steve. Today we've had an ELVE. Okay, so we're having all these extracurricular activities in our ionosphere and magnetosphere. Okay, and it's due to this activity on the sun. All right, this stuff comes in and it's starting to, we got a weak magnetic field, plus we're absorbing, inbound energy, stuff like this, magnetic fields interacting with ours. It causes all kinds of chaos and mayhem in our weather and stuff too. All right, whoops, back to this one here. So here's this Steve event. All right, so we're having some rare events. You don't see this every day. We don't see that this ELVE event. We don't see all the time, and we don't see that Steve event every day. Those are all rare events. Okay. The rest of this, here, this little spot, this is a lunar occultation of Venus. Venus is about to disappear behind the moon. A rare and beautiful occultation will be visible during the morning of the 9th. Okay, so just a little alignment there. The moon covers up Venus for a few minutes there. Then, this instrument, you should come over here and read this, or check this instrument too. They have all kinds of different articles and stuff, but pretty soon we're going to be having a lot of inbound objects, a lot of debris and stuff. So we will be using this chart here soon, the near-Earth asteroids chart, okay? Right now there's not much on there. Not much, I mean, there's a lot on there. The list used to be maybe 5 or 6. It used to be maybe this long. Now our list has like quadrupled 5 times in size. All right, and as we start getting closer and closer to this event, we'll come over to this and I'll start reading off lunar distances and stuff. One thing I want to point out about this is the lunar distance, like 17.2. Okay, that's way out past the moon. All right, some of these are closer. All right, here for instance is a 6.5. All right, so that's 6 times out. When we get to something that's 0.5, that's halfway to the lunar distance, that's the stuff we got to start watching, right? Also, we have to start watching for stuff that's at exactly 1 lunar distance. Say this one right here, for instance, is... Oh, this is a close one. This is 0.1 and 0.1. We got 2 of them right here back to back that are 0.1s. Here's another one at 0.2. So, okay, these are old ones. Due date. Okay. Anyways, we will be coming over here and tracking near-Earth objects here with this chart as we get closer to impact of this debris field. Okay. Yes. impact of this debris field. There is a debris field heading our way, folks. Anyways, this is going to be a good instrument we'll be using a lot. And especially for events like this ELV event and Steve events, these are becoming more and more common. The low latitude aurora events, they report on them as well. So we'll be using this one a little more. Okay, so let's come on over to the Schumann for right now. Scooch it, zoom it, do all that great stuff. I can't zoom this instrument for some reason, but what I can do is scooch it closer and the camera closer. Alright. Alright, we're pumping along pretty good. You can see we had this screeching event here. This was earlier today, during the daytime, alright? So we had this very, let me move my arrow. Very faint little line right there. It didn't disrupt the 7.8 too much, but you can see that faint little shadow line. There's a little weakness in our magnetic field. You can see over here and stuff that we're pumping along. There's a couple more shady spots, but we're still pumping along. These frequencies from this green line up are from 7.83 hertz to 0. All right? Those are very low frequencies. What were we just talking about, very low frequencies? Oh yeah, over here at this ELF. This ELF is an emission of light and very low frequency perturbations. So when we have these very low frequency emissions, perturbations, we're going to start seeing more and more of this activity. This activity is all over the place. This guy just for a split second, for a few milliseconds last Sunday night. So he probably had a video of this, a video camera pointed in here, and it was a quick little flash on the screen. Okay, so these events are, brief, but watch, we're going to start seeing more and more of these. That list that Ben was talking about, all the side effects on the other planets, and we made a list of all that stuff, remember back then? This is one of those side effects that would be on the list. This would be another thing you're checking off, atmospheric interferences, and that's what this is an atmospheric interference because of the weak magnetic field, as well as the bombardment by radiation from our sun. Okay? Both. So here's your VLF, your very low frequencies, and between 4 and 0 is just this very top streak right across there. All right, and there's frequencies in between 4 and 0, like 3, 2, and 1, but even in between 1 and 0, there's 1,000 frequencies. 0.999, 0.998, 0.997, so there are still very low frequencies between 1 and 0, and those are low frequencies, and that's the same thing that it causes this effect. Okay, moving on to our earthquake report. Okay, lots of activity. Right after last night's show, I was just about to go to bed, and I look up, and we have a 5-point something here in Texas. And I was going to come back on and talk about it, but I figured there's going to be even more going on. So here we are at our site. All right, let's pop on the first one real quick. It's a 5.2, I believe. Yeah. Oh, we need to pull back out so you guys can see everything. Okay, good. So our big quake is the 5.2, the original quake, at a depth of 7.4. That's a shallow quake. All of these, 5.6. That's a 2.5, but these are small quakes, but the depth is what I'm looking at. 2.5 at a depth of 5.6. Here's a 2.5 at a depth of 5. I'm going to make my point here in a minute. 2.8 at a depth of 6. 2.8 at a depth of 7, 3.2 at a depth of 7, 2.5 at a depth of 7, and a 2.6 at a depth of 7. All right around the same depth, all really shallow, and it's our pumping operation. I agree with Dutch when he talks about the pumping operations, because what they do is they drill down into the crust and put perforations in the crust. What am I talking about? Perforations in the crust a lot. That's where all this gas emits from, comes up through the cracks, holes, seams, little alleyways, whatever you want to call it, canals, all kinds of different ways that this stuff pushes up through the surface. And now we have pressure under this little region pushing up to the surface. And where is it firing off? At the weak spot with all the perforations. Telling you, Dutch is right. He would agree with me 100% on this. This is all because of the weakness in this area, okay? There is inbound pressure underneath, and here's your weak spot, okay? And I would expect to see more activity in here. Fracking doesn't help as well. You know, when you're pumping, when you're cracking the substructure and then injecting water in there, it's not the most stable foundation anymore. Another 2.6 depth of 5, 2.7 depth of 8. All shallow quakes. Another pumping operation probably going on over here. I can't zoom in as hard as he does, but maybe not on these ones. These look to be a little more in the mountainous region. But, oh, there's a little holding pond right there. Okay, so he always says, you know, like a mile out or 2 miles out or whatever. So it could be from fracking, a little distance away from this little holding pond. Okay, so you got Texas popped off that big 5.1. That's a pretty good sized quake for them today. Then we also have the chemical fire. Something I want to address about these chemical fires. We knew this a while back. When the chemistry on the sun is changing, okay, it's bombarding us with different kinds of particles and combinations and stuff, and these exotic particles, these new radiations and stuff, change the chemical compound of or change the chemical structure of our chemicals, making some chemicals that are volatile inert, and other ones that are inert volatile. So now you're seeing chemical plants, the ones that specialize in certain chemicals, all of a sudden their chemistry is changing in their labs and in their plants, and they're having inert chemicals becoming explosive, and vice versa, explosive chemicals not being as conductive anymore, losing their punch and starting to be non-explosive because the chemistry is changing. All right, and our chemistry on this earth all depends on the sun. Okay, this planet is all because of our sun. Our periodic table is everything comes out of the sun. All right, so let's come on over here and start off at the very beginning here. We had a deep quake here today. This is our 4.5 at a depth of 477. I believe I saw a secondary quake there a little. So we had another 4.5 in this region that was right next to this one. And those two had set off this quake, this 5.2 on the Kermadec, off the Kermadec Islands here. Now this quake, this is more recent. This is a 5.9. So these 4 mid-range force, deep ones that went off, have shoved 5 energy into this side of the system, already knocking off this one, 5.2, and that's almost a 5. Okay, so it's already come down into this system. It goes up into this branch, dropped off a 4.9 right there. Okay, it came up here. The 4.6 energy, that's a little deeper to depth of 320. We're having deep activity in this region. We had that super deep quake here yesterday at 633 in depth, and that's pretty deep. That this isn't a region that's known for its deep quakes. So, and then we had a backup one here today. Probably, I think that any kind of quake activity in here would be as a result of yesterday's deep quake down here. It's kind of localized, but here's a little aftershock, I believe, off of that deep quake, because this one's down deeper too at 320. So our little 4.5 mid-range 4 energy kind of isolated, localized is what I meant, localized in this area going off. It's still creeping up here. There's 4.4 to depth of 132. Okay, then this patch right here seems to be its own little individual event, quake swarm. Okay, yesterday we saw a 7.1 and a 6.7. Today we have another 6.7. This is a different quake than yesterday's. This is another 6.7 at a depth of 10. And it's residual quakes all around it, 4.6, 4.7. 4.6, 4.5. There's a little bigger one right there, the 5. So all these mid-range 4 quakes and a little 5 here or another 5 going off here and there. 4.8, 4.8, and a 5.3. So a couple of 5s and a 6.7 again here today, and a bunch of aftershocks. What I want to kind of do while we're at this region real quick is I'm going to change this up. Whoops. Not that one, this one, to 7-day magnitude plus. All right. Now, this is basically, since this quake swarm started yesterday, this is basically yesterday and today's activity all put together in this new region. Here's your 7.1. Here's your other 6.7. The other 6.7 that we just reported now, and then here's your yellow quakes from yesterday, orange quakes from today. So you can see this region, even these are a little connected. That's a 5.3 and a 4.8. It's just off of this quake swarm, but it's on the same plate, same side of the plate boundary. So these kind of look like they're part of this, even these other ones. All right. So we have a quake swarm going on here, and it's pumping out some decent-sized quakes, 7s and 6.7s, okay? Down here, oh, wait, that's yesterday. But that's a 5.2, just down the line from it, okay? So the energy in this region is increasing. This is all shallow quakes in a region that's known for its deep quakes. Okay, so something deep happened down below. Now the energy's reached the surface, and it's kind of good that it's doing this and releasing energy, because there's pent up energy underneath the crust, and it either got to escape through volcanism or earthquakes. Okay, so let's go back to our regular thing here. Okay, coming over to here. Usually this zone, the quakes are right along the boundary line. Sometimes they're way out here, and this is the dangerous zone. This 4.9 is not, a big quake. It's at a depth of 10, but I believe it was out here that the big Sumatra quake happened. Okay, so here's Sumatra right here. It didn't happen right here. I think it happened more out in this area. So we'll watch this area just off of Sumatra right here for more energy release here, possible potential for a bigger quake here. Now, as you look up through the system here, you see the fulcrum point that's just been locked up. We haven't had any kind of releases in this region right here for a while. We don't have any going across this part either. It's all naked, right? Look how it's all cleared out. Here's the last little bit of energy from yesterday leaving the area. There's the 4.6 at Turkey at a depth of 10, and a 4.4 at Turkey again at a depth of 100. So 2 mid-range 4 quakes, cleaning up the residual energy in the area before it leaves. Now, this naked area right here, this whole zone is ready for inbound energy to come in. We have energy from this quake swarm that can push up through here as well. So anything after this quake, I'm expecting to see uh, five, mid-range 4 to 5s in this zone right here, possibly at the fulcrum point if it's still not locked up, but then coming over to where we had these quakes here in this little round feature that I talked about the other night here in the Himalayas. We got more pressure coming in this area, so expect to see another quake go off in this area probably. I'd say probably mid-range 5, possibly even a 6 in this area because it was at a 5.7 that went off before. So anything between up to a 6, from 4.4 to a 6, or yeah, mid-range 4 to a 6 in that little pocket thing again. Okay. Then we'll probably see mid-range 4 to 5s up here in this region, over here maybe by the Gobi Desert. We'll receive energy get released as it comes through this area. Okay, so you got, I'm not predicting it, but we know how this works. You can see this bare area. It's pretty self-evident. We're going to see quakes continue up the system. And we, like I said, we saw them at this spot, expect it there, expected at the fulcrum spot, moving into Saudi Arabia and Iran, the Middle East again, over here at Turkey again. It looks like we haven't even seen energy from yesterday make it over to Italy or Greece. So you might see mid-range 4 or 5 here in Italy or Greece still before this next wave comes through here. Okay. Let's go up this way just a tad bit. You guys still hanging with me? Am I going too fast or not? All right, 4.4 here at Japan at a depth of 132. Another thing I want to talk about here is we have this energy from down below here, all right? It can push up through this system as well, and I'm a little concerned about a possible big quake off of Japan here. Now, it's good to see that we've had this 4.4 here. This released a little bit of energy. So whatever potential was building, because there was a naked spot there, and we have just above it 5.6, and just below it this. So it did fill in the middle with a 4.4. Hopefully that's it, but I don't think so. I have a feeling there might be another quake in this area here, maybe mid-range 4 to 5. I pray it's nothing bigger, but we do have that energy. 5.6 has made it this far up, okay? Dumping off 4.7 there. All right. It looks like nothing's gone up at this fulcrum point. Anything past that is a 3.6. And that is very recent. So that's not anything from today's deep quake. So that's leftover energy from yesterday's. This is energy that has made it up here since today's deep quake. Yeah. And as you can see, we got a little red one just recently here at Alaska. This is the latest one, 2.6 at a depth of 140. But what I'm trying to point out is we have recent activity. All right. You can see we got energy still coming around. And then nothing here at the Juan de Fuca or along the west coast. There's just these couple little small quakes inside California. So this whole region is quiet. Expect to see some energy make it over. Okay. This 5.6 energy over here is what I see inbound. Okay. Usually when it makes it to this, it takes that and cuts it down to 3. 5.6, I would say it would cut it down to 3.6 or 4. So you might see some kind of 4, mid-range 3 to 4 along the Juan de Fuca here, or even at this apex point right there where we usually get them. Okay. These aren't even anything to really report on. This is next door to me though, 2.7 at Walker. And this little mouse part is 2.6 out of Mina. All right. Close that one out. Oh, here. we got one finally here at Iceland. Ooh, what's going on here? Oh yeah, we got a little quake swarm going on here. 4.5 at a depth of 4.5. 4.5 at a depth of 10. 4.3 at a depth of 10. 4.3 at a depth of 11. And a 4.6 at a depth of 9. So, a bunch of mid-range 4s right here, just off the Mid-Atlantic Ridge fault line right here. This volcano's coming to life. There's been a lot of uplift in this area stuff too. So watch Iceland's volcano coming to life there. More earthquake activity, of course, following with that. They go hand in hand. Real quick, let's take a peek at South America. I see these three lined up for us. 4.4, depth of 111, 4.7 at depth of 134, and a 4.3 to depth of 183. Perfect distribution of energy being released. Almost equal distance, too. This is that mid-range 4 energy that was to 5 energy that came off these two deep quakes here. It's only showing one. There was a second. That set off these two in the Kermadec fault line and then pushed over here and dropped off those. Okay, moving on. Here we go back to our instrument here. I just had it set up on this as the reference for perforations. So while we're here, you can still see nation divided. Let me take the winds off of there. There we go. Now it's not so blurry. Zoom in one more notch. Yeah. Actually, this area is kind of clearing out a little bit. It used to be, straight down like this. So everything to the right of that line, this area seems to be dying down at least. Getting a little more intense in this area, though. Then, let's see here. What else was I going to do with this one? I think it was just for the perforations. While we're here, look at China. They're still spewing a bunch of SO2. They're having wild weather as well. And they're having mud push up through the cracks in the pavement. And they're having mud volcanoes flow up through cracks in the streets. I saw a couple of reports. It's happened a few times there. They're also having landslides and weather issues, snow and crazy. So China's getting their fair share of it. You can see India has got quite a bit of it pumping out here. There's Europe and everything. There's the coast of South America, and all these are all little individual sites. It's not as bad, it's not as peppered as it used to be, but you can still see these are all individual sites. Here at our fulcrum point, where all the pressure comes in, you can see our darkest little patch is right there on the fulcrum point. And that's all sulfur dioxide, the gas that surrounds the magma down below, being pushed up through the surface because of the expanding magma down below. All right, cool. Let's come on over to our forecast, shall we? Here we are. This is the current conditions. I was telling you last night about this icing event in New York here. And let me just kind of zoom in on this if I can. I think it's that one, yeah. All right, there's a little shot, a little bit better of what's going on there. I'm going to leave that sit there for just a sec while I take a sip here. All righty. Okay, now we got to zoom back out, but you can see we're in upstate New York right now. There's an icing event going on, and we have rain here and snow on the backside. This cold air goes, the warmer air from this rainy patch goes over the top of this cold air. Then it rains. When it rains down on top of this cold air, it freezes and hits the ground. And that's our pink little area right here, is this warmer rain overlapping this cold air underneath. Okay, and we're getting icing events here. New York, this is up at Ontario, I guess, Canada. Upstate New York, and then the next frame here, I can't access the buttons. Sorry, you gotta zoom out to get to the buttons. our next frame here, it goes even deeper. Let me zoom it back in again so you guys can see a little bit better. All right, it grows a little bit stronger and goes a little deeper into New York, back up here into Ontario and stuff. Okay, so for these next few hours, you guys are going to have some icing there in New York, in Vermont, New Hampshire. We got this big snowstorm back up here in Canada. Okay, so now I got to zoom back out for a sec. And let's get to our report tonight, shall we? All right, so back up one frame. That's our current conditions right now, midnight or just nighttime of the 8th. Then that's the morning of the 9th right there. So when you guys get up in the morning out on the East Coast here in upstate New York, you're going to wake up to a possible icing event. It continues on through New Hampshire, Vermont, up into Maine in the noontime. Then it turns to snow by the afternoon at the end of convection. And as it pulls away, it draws up moisture into its tail. And we have this event going on down here. Let's back up a frame. Right there. Turns into this by the end of convection. All right. So here we're, get this out of there. Here we're talking about Arkansas. They're showing severe weather back into kind of Oklahoma. This whole little cell, we have inbound energy. Remember, every single day so far, we have had inbound energy that can possibly intensify this, okay? We saw rapid intensification with that storm and the hurricane down in Acapulco. And that's the same kind of rapid intensification that can happen here, depending on the timing of the storm and how much energy when it hits. Okay, it has the possibility. I haven't gotten the exact timing down on when it's going to hit each storm, but the potential for added energy to this model is there. All right, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. That's what I'm trying to emphasize so much, because it is really having an effect on the weather. Now, what I want to do here, kind of get the West Coast in there, because the rest of this report is pretty much the West Coast, because the Pacific Northwest has a series of storms coming in here. So this is the end of convection, the 9th, into the nighttime, and still a little potential here for thunderstorms in Texas, severe weather in Texas down there. Nighttime of the 9th, morning of the 10th, noontime, the end of convection. As you can see, we got another thing creeping up here into British Columbia. Then we go to the nighttime of the 10th. It gets intense up there. They're showing pink and all kinds of beautiful colors. Let's get those colors in there for you guys so you can see what they're showing. Okay? Hopefully you guys can see a little bit. Anyways, here we are at the nighttime of the 10th. As this moves in, we got a little boil up down here in Texas, but not too bad. That's the morning of the 11th. The noontime, convection, the nighttime of the 11th, morning of the 12th, noon, convection, night, morning of the 13th, noontime, come here button, there we go, convection, nighttime, the morning of the 14th, this little storm coming up here on the Gulf Coast here on the morning of the 14th. Let's go back a frame right there. It starts to come together at noontime, and then it kind of stays off the shore there during convection. That's the nighttime of the 14th. Morning of the 15th, as we have another storm coming in up here, okay? Noontime the 15th. There's the end of convection the 15th, nighttime, and then we have this storm push into California and the Sierras between the noon of the 15th and the morning of the 16th. So overnight, the storm pushing into Northern California, dumping off heavy rain, snow in the Sierras, even possibility for severe weather at the Oregon border, Middle Valley, even down in Southern California. So this one looks to pack a punch. Coming in on the 16th, that all depends on what comes off the sun the 13th. could make that even worse. All right, so as we go through these hours real quick, this is the morning of the 16th, noontime, the end of convection, and then the nighttime. And we get pop-up severe weather again here in Northern California and the Sierras at nighttime on the 16th. We also have this thing sneaking in down here, this low. You see this down here. Whoops. Down here sneaking in. We'll see if it turns from a tropical depression into a anything possibly hurricane. So nighttime of the 16th, morning of the 17th, as it intensifies, this intensifies, this intensifies. Here's our low coming in right there. That's the noon of the 17th. Into convection. We have this one up here as well, winding up, getting real tight up here as well. Like that a little bit better. So boom, boom. We back up, go through these next 3 frames. Boom, boom. All right. You saw this intensified, and this intensified. That's the end of convection. Then we go into the nighttime of the 17th. There's the morning of the 18th. Noontime. End of convection. The nighttime. Morning of the 19th. Starts to clear out. Noon. Then at the end of convection, it kind of pushes up into here. A possible icing event up here in where's that? Northern Pennsylvania, right along the Lake Erie shores there. It showed. Okay. Right there. But that's pretty far out. That's the 19th at end of convection. So then it moves on out, and we're kind of clear for the rest of this run. So I'll put it back into motion right there. Maybe zoom in for a second here. Let you guys look at that for a second. Get that more centered. Go get ready for the spiritual report. I forgot to do something, so I'm gonna let you guys chat with each other just for a second. I'll be back in like 2 minutes, real quick. I forgot. Dang it! I put some music on, but YouTube's so picky about copyright stuff, so I'll be right back here. Ow! Check on something. Yep, be right back, guys. Alright, I'm back. Alright, cool. Thanks for hanging in there, folks. Alrighty. Leave you at cliffhanging at the best part, huh? Right before the spiritual report. Alright, so let's come on over to this. And got this image set up. Let's see if we can get it just a tad bit bigger. Shall we? Alright, this is the filtered image. So you can see. Oh, excuse me. Didn't mean to burp at you guys. My filtered image that you could possibly see a little bit better. You can see the crown a little bit better. And his face a little bit better. Right about there, I guess. Alright. Then I was going to read this. Where is it here? Take a sip. So, let my presence override everything you experience. Like a luminous veil of light, I hover over you and everything around you. I am training you to stay conscious of me in each situation you encounter. When the patriarch Jacob ran away from his engaged brother, he went to sleep on a stone pillow in a land that seemed desolate. But after dreaming about heaven and angels and promises of my presence, he awoke and exclaimed, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it." His discovery was not only for him, but for all who seek me. Whenever you feel distant from me, say, "Surely the Lord is in this place." Then ask me to give you awareness of my presence. This is a prayer that I delight to answer. Stay ever so close to me, and you will not deviate from the path I have prepared for you. This is the most efficient way to stay on track. It is also the most enjoyable way. Men tend to multiply duties in their observance of religion. This practice enables them to give me money, time, and work without yielding up to me what I desire the most, their hearts. Rules can be observed mechanically. Once they become habitual, they can follow with minimal effort. They can be followed with minimal effort and almost no thought. These habit-forming rules provide a false sense of security, lulling the soul into a comatose condition. What I search for in my children is an awakened soul that thrills to the joy of my presence. I created mankind to glorify me and enjoy me forever. I provide the joy. Your part is to glorify me by living close to me. All right. And hopefully, you know what? Let's back out of this and go look around a little bit. I still got a couple minutes. You guys want to see more? Let's take a peek at this. We don't show this one very often, but it is part of all of this. Weird how it happened, but oh wait, we got an ad probably first. Come on, YouTube and your ads. Oh yeah. Oh, scary. I'll show you scary. This is what's scary. Alright, let me just go ahead and play this video for you guys. Howdy folks, welcome back. There wasn't much activity on the sun to report on today, and that's good because I had a revelation last night, and what I'm about to show you is going to knock your socks off. So, a couple of days ago I was doing a video on these kind of craft exiting the sun, which looked like it was being towed out from behind the sun or something, and I did a video on that one, and that's this one right here, and it looked like it was this actual model being pulled out from behind the sun. So I did a stream yesterday and I was looking for a thumbnail for it, and I couldn't match up any pictures, wouldn't match up. And it wasn't until I started digging deeper into my pictures and I pulled up this one right here that I used as a thumbnail on my latest stream. That's when it occurred to me, this thing sitting next to this one, they're the same object. It's the same thing. Whoever made this craft right here is here now, and what I thought was a man standing on the plane before is actually one of the vertical stabilizers that comes out at an angle, kind of like an F-18's vertical stabilizers. They're not straight up and down vertically, they come out at an angle. Well, much like that, so do these ones right here. And what I thought was a man standing up is this vertical stabilizer right here. Okay, so now back to this one. When I was looking at this a long time ago, I was looking at this weird kind of grasshopper type looking head, almost like a snub-nosed dragon with a mouth right here, you know, a blunt, shortened nose, two eyes. And this would be the head kind of looking this way. Okay. So again, the eyes, the snout, kind of a snub-nosed one with the curls back around with the mouth here. Okay. And I was just kind of baffled at what a weird nose. It actually looks like a creature or something like that. Okay, now in this image, this is of a different model. It has 4 wings, and you see a longer snout on it, divided down the middle with a little ridge with 2 eyes right there. Sorry, my arms are shaky. And what looks like a collar around it, and then the rest of the body, right? So we're looking at this one, and it has a longer snout, and you can make out the teeth a little bit more on the side. Now, there's another one with this, another version. Let me show you. Okay, this is the original one that we were looking at, and here it is with the shorter snout, snub-nosed a little bit, with an eye up here and an eye or whatever right here, and this ridge coming over and coming down, these defined swept wings, this weird vertical stabilizer, and the tail. All of those match exactly to this one right here. So now we know that this cloud formation was actually, you know, more than just a cute little airplane in the sky. Okay, here real quick, I don't know how to do a side-by-side image, but I can manage to do it right down here. So here's a quick little side-by-side comparison of the two. Okay, real quick, one good look at this one. And nice defined wings. I mean, this is obviously there. Whoever created this, or whoever these people are that are responsible for these flying machines 1,000 years ago, are now back and here. Okay, so we've seen them coming out of the sun, and now they're here in the skies, cloaked in the clouds. Okay. All right, advanced races from the past showing up in their advanced flying vehicles that were mimicked with these little gold trinkets 1,000 years ago. This is probably made by a local tribe that encountered this race, and they made little gold trinkets to not commemorate, but to document the flying machine that they saw. Okay, these are real. These are in your skies. You just don't. Kind of a snub. These are in your skies. You guys just don't know. You just don't see them. They're nose one with the curls back around with the mouth here. Trying to get it to stop. There we go. Sorry. Frame right here without my hand pointing at it. All right, there we go. So these guys, this race or whatever, advanced culture from the past is here now and back and in the clouds, following me everywhere I go. Pretty trippy stuff. Imagine if this was happening to you. I mean, it's just been the wildest roller coaster ride I've ever been on. My whole life just changed so drastically after September 10th. And now I got stuff like this follows me around everywhere I go. I go out of town, go to a different city to visit friends, and I'll come out, there's this stuff in the sky still. So it follows me around everywhere I go. Anyways, that's a cool little image I figured I'd show you. It's something a little bit different. You know, it doesn't necessarily match the Bible story or whatever, but it is stuff that I'm capturing, so I got to bring it to you. You know, it applies somehow. So, okay. So I thought you guys might like that one. All right, I think that's about it for tonight. Yeah, because I got to get going and get some rest here. We'll be watching the quakes carefully. We'll be watching this inbound energy carefully. Expect more quakes. We might have some more atmospheric events like the Steves or low latitude auroras, ELF events, stuff like that, okay? So the sun's been really active. We're going to have all kinds of solar side effects, okay? All right, that's it for tonight. I love you guys. I miss you guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. God bless you all. And until my next live stream, I'll be back.